Last week saw the fourth and final DLC arrive for Marvel's Midnight Suns, which this week I played through and finished. As I got to the final mission, it dawned on me just how much I've really enjoyed this game. I've logged over 50 hours between my PC and my Steam Deck, and this is a really good Marvel video game. It isn't perfect, and it's not going to win any awards in the graphics department or character models, but if you're a big Marvel fan and you want a fresher take on these characters outside of the MCU, which is currently buckling a little right now, there's a great Marvel video game waiting for you right here. Look, all the way up to the release of the game, I was skeptical of its card-based system. I wanted something more akin to a Marvel XCOM game, and I've never really jived with a card-based system in a video game before. But I was more than happy to be proved wrong, and the card system actually rules. It allows all the heroes to feel diverse and really brings unique attributes and the power fantasy of each hero to new limits. Honestly, like, the game at times itself, it feels ripped right out of a comic book panel, especially with how the background can change and be modified when you do a certain attack or activate a certain skill. The card system, it rarely feels unfair or luck based and like it's hiding all the best cards from you and it's all down to chance. In fact, it really allows for some brilliant synergy between all the heroes. Fights themselves can be pretty challenging, but massively executing a couple of attacks and heroics in a certain pattern so that you wipe every enemy in one turn, it never gets old. The use of environment too, like, it makes you feel extremely clever and smart, and the feedback you get from using one environmental attack and wiping out several minions at once is so satisfying. In your time, you'll come up against lots of different enemies and villains, or even heroes being controlled by the villains, so you fight them. And they provide an extra challenge using their movesets, which you kind of get a sneak peek at for when, you're able to use them, and, they manipulate your teams. And Scarlet Witch might get your own heroes attacking each other, and that's pretty cool and unique. I think Firaxis did a remarkable job of variety as well with mission to mission. Sometimes we're holding out for X amount of waves, sometimes it's about defeating a boss, sometimes it's about saving hostages, getting access to key cards, collapsing the environment. Just really good stuff all around and a lot of variety there. The decks themselves have a ton of depth in terms of how do you want to use them. Variety of cards in attacks, heroics, skills. The big heroic attacks all feel powerful and meaty and weighty. Even the main protagonist, you, the Hunter, is really cool and has a really diverse moveset, allowing you to go between more light-sided attacks and more dark-based attacks depending on how you progress through the story. Which brings us to what's unique about this. This was labelled as kind of the Marvel Persona game. You play as the Hunter and it's done through the Hunter's perspective. You join the Midnight Suns and interact with a massive amount of Marvel superheroes and anti-heroes for that matter. Spending time with them, getting to know them, their backstory and how they're feeling, what they've been up to in this iteration of the Marvel Universe. I actually love this kind of stuff. One of my favourite things of Insomniac Spider-Man is what's been going on in that Marvel Universe and the world building they do here. The world building of this Marvel Universe is different and it's not tied to anything, and you're working out who's attacked Earth, what threats have they faced in the past, what superhero groups are currently around, what is the current state of this Marvel Universe. If you want to really dive deep on that stuff, you can, and it's excellently done and there's a brilliant background here. The actual relationship building stuff, well, I didn't fully love it. But I know that some people do, and some people really don't. I enjoyed it for some characters, like particularly Spider-Man because it's Yuri Lowenthal doing the role again, and he's brilliant. And a few of the actual Midnight Suns who, like, we haven't had mainline representation of recently, like Blade, obviously has an upcoming movie, but I enjoyed hearing more about, and yeah, maybe not spending time at book club with Blade, but it didn't quite hit in that way, but it was pretty cool still trying to understand their backstories and their motives. These activities that you spend doing, they build up your friendship level, and when you hit level 5 of each hero, they get their Midnight Sun ability and outfit, and the ability is really cool. You can add that to your deck, and it's more like a powerful heroic that ultimately changes the tide of the battle. It's really fun. But after getting to level 5, you have to do a unique challenge, which are using your current moveset in a way that you have a certain amount of moves that you can do, and it's a challenge. It's like a little puzzle, and I really enjoyed these. These were a great little way to kind of rack my brain around getting the best out of each hero, so it was really great. And they always felt worthy awards for getting the friendship level that high. You can also join hangouts post missions with the heroes that you took on those missions to further build up that friendship level, and to be honest, Who doesn't want to play video games with Deadpool or hang out at the pool with Cap? With all that said, by the end of the game, like, it did feel like my team. Like, I was heading into battle with them, and they were one squad, one unit, and that was really cool and a big culmination moment. So, yeah, the Persona-like system, it lands in some places for me, but not others. But over on the whole, it's pretty good. Outside of missions themselves, you explore the Abbey, which is more of like a side plot and side mission. This is where you really learn about Caretaker, who is essentially your adopted mother, and Agatha Harkness, I should say her ghost. This is really unique and cool, and very different tone for what everyone sees as Marvel these days. At the start, I'll be honest, it felt like padded exploration, but the more I explored and the abilities I unlocked, and the more I dug, and the deeper I got, the more I actually dug this part of the game. The exploration itself gives you hangout spots to build up your friendship with heroes. You can open arcane chests that give you combat items and cosmetics like colour palettes, and it actually has challenges in there that help you develop the hunter and level up him in a different way, and to the point where you can then bring his dog into battle, and that is sick, I can't lie. You can also collect talent cards, which are kind of like legends cards about other heroes and phenomenon and villains in this universe, which don't feature in this game, but it's like a cool legends thing. I really love collecting these and getting like a little bit of backstory on how the universe perceives them. They were really dope.
I can show you a couple of things.
But this side plot, it actually ends up adding a ton of depth to Caretaker's character, who without this, like, she feels pretty one note to me. So if you really want to get deep into the story, I really recommend seeing this all the way through. I think it's worth it in the end. Now, we can't talk about superhero games without talking cosmetics, can we? Each hero has a base Firaxis design suit, a more original comic suit, a suit chosen by Firaxis to design, and then an ultimate Midnight Sun suit. So much variety here. They carry over into the cutscenes and they look super high quality. And I really love the ultimate Midnight Suns design. They are so dope. On top of that, outside of the Midnight Sun design, you can customize each suit with a color palette, so you can get your squad looking exactly how you want. And I think they nailed the cosmetics here, tailoring each hero to exactly how you want them to look and be by the end of the game. Even as far as having them have an outfit for the Abbey itself and chilling in the downtime between missions. Obviously, the suits themselves that you go into battle with, they're super high quality. The character models, I don't think look as good, and in a weird way, something out of a PlayStation 3 game, if I'm being honest, but that doesn't take my immersion out of things. By the end of the game, I pretty much have everyone rocking the Midnight Sun outfit because they went off with the designs on that one. They're so good. The story itself, it's a chunky one and pretty good for the most part. If I had one critique, I'd have liked more villain variety. Sabretooth, Hulk, Venom and Wanda, and a few I won't spoil were cool, but I eventually grew tired of fighting them over and over, and I would have liked a little bit more variety in this part. The constant battle against Lilith was cool, and even though the character models of each hero, they're not going to win awards, the cutscenes themselves actually look pretty terrific, and I was impressed by them. The main campaign was enjoyable, plenty of locations to visit, both familiar and obscure. The music, my god, the music for this game had no right to be this good. A really fresh take on a superhero score that has a sense of adventure, epic, and heroism. And even if you don't end up picking up this game or playing it, you should listen to the soundtrack because it's brilliant. Also, that post-credit tease cannot, and I repeat, cannot, be allowed to be left untouched. It sets up some extremely exciting stuff for a villain who needs more media representation, and they just don't get the spotlight they deserve, and boy do we need it. The DLC storyline too actually had me hooked, and I won't lie, I thought it would just be like one mission and adding in the character just so it comes with a little bit more of a package. But a lot of effort went in here, and Venom actually wound up being my favourite hero in the game. Also, it's gotta be said, fighting Dracula in a Marvel game, like, what is not to love about that? That is so cool. The DLC adds 4 extra characters, which is Storm, Deadpool, Venom, and Morbius, which, again, unique and not really playable in many other games. You can actually use them in the main campaign if you buy it all together and then do their missions first before you start the main campaign. He starts fresh, which is nice, and I'm definitely going to run through a New Game Plus at some point. It's definitely one of the better DLCs of single player games for me in recent memory. The game is also in its best state ever, just like all AAA games 1 year after launch. Available now on last gen consoles, current ones and PC. Also, if you own a Steam Deck, this is a perfect Steam Deck game. They ironed out all the performance issues and it runs extremely well on this thing, and it's perfect for them short or more portable sessions. I would argue that if you have a deck, it is a must own. Like I say, this game feels fresh and diverse from the MCU, but perhaps that's what also works against it. Just like Eidos Montreal's Guardians of the Galaxy, they both underperformed according to their publishers' expectations, which means the likelihood of a sequel at this point for both of them is pretty low. I get it, different art designs, takes on characters, stories that don't really have the synergy of the MCU, meaning they don't really get the mainstream appeal. But for me, you should take a chance on this game. It is well worth your time. Whether you dive deep into the relationship building and stuff at all, there's a brilliant superhero game here that will give you the power fantasy of controlling each of these individuals and heroes. Whether you're a newcomer to strategy game or a veteran who wants a challenge, Marvel's Midnight Suns is a game that deserves a sequel, and it deserves your time. If you enjoyed this video, then please drop a like, it would really help me out and I would massively appreciate it. If you're looking for coverage on all comic book video games, both Marvel and DC, then you're in the right place. Please consider hitting that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one. Have an amazing day.